You are only human.
Do you get the radiated energy of these beautiful smiles? Hope you see in such smiles the genesis of human face, that we have the enriched human expression far away from the animal kingdom, but this does not mean that our DNA has no traces of it. Do you think that in the evolution theory prepared before by pre-Darwinists and proclaimed by Charles Darwin, is it not the missing link, the important part of it, which have given us such beautiful smiles? It means that the Sumerian texts of the ancient terracotta tablets provide considerable information for such intervention in our past, that we can call it the missing link is complete.
Only human.
So when the creationist theory calls such intervention God, or the evolution theory calls it nature, do you think that although coming from opposite directions of interpretation, both of the theories come to the same meeting point of the missing link, which always have raised the question, what is God or what is nature? Nobody has met God, but somebody like Enoch has met other civilizations which are thousands or even millions of years ahead of us. Everybody is nurtured by the nature around us, although not all of us understand well the laws of nature. So we can agree that we as human beings on this planet called Earth have a genesis of millions of years, but with interventions by other civilizations to give us a nobility of our brain which is expressed in our faces. In order to protect the life of everybody of us in our planet Earth, we need to be aware how to find the compromise among ourselves on the grounds of mutual respect, peace and love. In the meantime, that we are being watched in our development as humans of Earth for the undisputed fact that even in our moon, there is a presence of another civilization. But we do not know yet this is the civilization which, for in the ancient religious books it is written that God created us in his image. For among galactic and intergalactic civilizations we have only attracted the attention of somebody out there, due to our behavior faults complicated with our atomic weapons. In that regard, watch carefully the following.
Go! Capcom, we're go for landing. Challenger, you're gone. Go! Capcom, we're go for landing. Challenger, you're go for landing.
has landed.
As you notice, it has been repeatedly hard-proof evidence for the presence of another civilization on our moon, as it has been proved by the transmissions of NASA, as well as proved by other amateur and professional astronomers around Earth. I apologize for the poor quality of my video, but you have noticed clearly that we are having hard evidence for presence of others on our moon. Probably this is one of the reasons that President Reagan spoke in the UN session.
If suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet.
81 nautical miles now from Columbia.
One of the most significant examples of hard evidence of the presence of other civilizations near our planet Earth. It is the case of the Tether incident in 1996, which, as you are noticing, is filming through the cameras of Columbia Space Shuttle. Several flying objects which in a great percentage are intelligently maneuvered, meanwhile, of any other debris in space, because they are very curious and cautionary with our behavior in space.
You guys getting the image?
Franklin, we see a long line, a couple of star-like things, and a lot of things swimming in the foreground. Can you describe what you're seeing?
My dear fellows, you should know that the debris do not pulsate in space, which shows above all emission of energy of such intelligent flying objects, as well as the trajectories of such intelligent flying objects are showing their curious and cautionary approach to our tether, which is 12 miles long, and they are astonished probably about our intentions.
Copy that.
In that description by the crew, this is the tether and the satellite. And the satellite with approximately 12 miles of tether still attached to it. Columbia and the satellite are now just passing over the west coast of northern Africa. The two spacecraft are now 90 nautical miles apart. Controllers for the satellite did have communications with it during the close pass between Columbia and the satellite.
Columbia, Houston, that's a much better view, a lot more contrast visible. And how wide does that tether appear to be? It seems to resemble a much wider strand than we'd expect. Can you describe which way the satellite is visible on that strand?
Releasing a magnetic tether 12 miles long in space under the pretext to collect the debris, which is our fault in our young activity in space. Because of our immaturity to do any presumed actions without thinking that we live on Earth among other planets, which are known by others before us. Other civilizations have the right to observe us and to be very cautious about our actions. Anyway, the magnetism of the tether can be the true reason of their curiousness, because the science of physics have proved that electromagnetism is widespread and very useful in space. In order to protect our Earth from pollution and to protect space from our excrements. The electromagnetism is the future of energy.
Satellite now 100 nautical miles.
You're completely unzoomed and you see the full extent of the tether. I tried to adjust the focus, but I can't get better than that.
Okay, Claude. Thank you.
Let us zoom in now.
Do you think that such intelligent flying objects of other civilizations can be contained not to approach our moon, and such civilizations do not build their bases on our moon? Because we Earthlings of planet Earth, meanwhile developing nuclear weapons for war, with our mentality that the moon is our new colony. The development of technology for peaceful purposes is well accepted for further development of our humanity of planet Earth, to coordinate with other civilizations and have our place in other planets, and even to go and mine on the moon or other planets for rare minerals. But when other civilizations can be thousands or millions of years ahead of us in their development, in space we cannot go with arrogance as we have done in our previous history here on Earth, when such arrogance against each other, it have caused us havoc and destruction of enormous material and intellectual resources of our several generations in our Earth. We are at a point of our development that we should think carefully to protect our planet Earth from war and pollution, and learning from our past wrongs and mistakes. We can enhance our abilities to develop the technology for peaceful purposes, and above all to improve the standard of life and security level of everybody on Earth. We never should forget that our worst can come when we do not learn from mistakes and when we forget the teachings of our horrible experiences of previous wars. Particularly when, after suffering 2 world wars in the last 100 years, miraculously through the geniality of intelligent people of all our family of nations on our Earth, particularly such examples like President Ronald Reagan and President Mikhail Gorbachev, who understood that above all, we are only humans, which means that we are intelligent enough to be brothers and sisters on our Earth, in order to guarantee better days for future generations, for the children and on our Earth. When we are brothers and sisters here on Earth, then we can expand through cooperation with other civilizations in order to consider us in the grand galactic and intergalactic communication of civilizations.
In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war? Differences between us at all? We were all human beings, citizens of the world, and wouldn't we come together to fight?
This is just the beginning.
Нужны новые стимулы, которые бы... We saw that we were beginning to lose the rhythm of development. We saw the social energies of the people were paralyzed, and we needed to lighten the burden, particularly the burden of the arms race, the military burden. As a result of the arms race, we were at the edge, at the brink of the abyss. We
I was with him when he decided to confront Reagan with a question. Did he or didn't he want an agreement? Did he or didn't he want disarmament?
Though my pronunciation may give you difficulty, the maxim is doviai no proviai. Trust but verify.
Но значение этого...
Каждой встрече вы это повторяете.
You repeat that at every meeting.
The use of force had discredited itself completely. It was no longer possible to stabilize the world by military methods.
All the people of Earth will always be in debt to the greatness of Mikhail Gorbachev and Ronald
History
Reagan.
is not something preordained. We know from the experience of the past decades that we can influence history, we can change the course of events if we understand the most important things. In this global world, in the world where we are facing many challenges,
The need of our modern society to understand that democracy and globalization should be associated with social measures to give the best chance in life to all human beings, despite being poor or rich. It is one of the crucial requirements in order to amplify the energies and abilities of every human being on our Earth. In that regard, the Russians have a great tradition of emancipating the rest of the world for such social needs, particularly of the poor, in order to live in cohesion with the rich. This is the essence of peaceful coexistence on our planet Earth, in order to prevent extremism in its radical forms of fascism or communism, which particularly under the example of Nazism in Europe caused the death of about 58 million people and the destruction of immense values. The Russians, in alliance with the Americans and all anti-fascist nations, they proved the power of unity of all human beings on our Earth. As well as again they proved to find their best values to stop the Cold War with its risk of nuclear annihilation of all our humanity. As it is written in the ancient scriptures, God created us in His image. It means that the Creator, through the intervention of the missing link, it gave us hope and light for life, in order to progress intellectual life itself. And in the example of Mikhail Gorbachev and Ronald Reagan, our human race on Earth has proved our dignity in front of those who are watching us in our development. So whoever is on the moon should have acceptance of our civilization, that we promise to be their friends, and they should promise us that they should communicate with us only in peace, and for peace. But this does not mean that we should be defeatists. In contrary, we are prepared to protect our planet Earth to serve life with peace and love. In the ancient Sumerian writings, it is clearly stated the enumerating of our solar system, starting with the furthest planet of Pluto, because they came from far away once upon a time, and they liked our Earth, and they taught us the sciences, the skills of agriculture and architecture, which still the archaeology on Earth finds new traces. If they liked our Earth, it means that us, who live on Earth, should consider Earth our home, and it is well known that our home is our castle. Since Yuri Gagarin, the first astronaut, when he watched our Earth from space, and other later astronauts like Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, they all together emphasized the love for our Earth. Our Earth, our home, with its blue halo of atmosphere and stratosphere, looks the most beautiful thing in cosmos. And when we live in the nature of Earth, our countries, cities, towns, villages, streets, and houses, we feel that we are fulfilled, but we should understand that we are lucky. Our Earth is a gift to us, as the initiating point of life of our humanity, a gift given by destiny through the evolution of our intellectual species, in coordination with the intervention of other civilizations. Our Earth is the initial test of our abilities to face the challenges of life, in the balance between mixture of our DNA with our primates and the additional elements of it, which were manipulated by the ancient visitors since the time of Sumerians or even before. In this meaning, it is our responsibility to protect our Earth, to protect life, and to serve it with humility, in contrary of some of our predecessors, who for their profits caused havoc and destruction in order to manipulate the rest of us regarding the concept of blue blood. As Proverbs says, and the modern science has proved, we are different because we were created to love each other and not to fight each other, as well as the blood is thicker than water and still remains red for every human being on our Earth. In this context, it is inspiring and delightful to see the beautiful nature of our Earth. to see the beautiful faces of all the races of human beings in our earth, to see the gazing eyes and the beautiful smiles on everybody's face. So the purpose of our human life is to enjoy it and do our best to improve our life and everybody around us. Because our earth at the same is big. Also it is small as the only home we know for now for every one of us. Now that we know our past and we have analyzed and learned from our previous wrongs and mistakes, we should always remember to new generations that they should never forget our past, that they should never close their ears and eyes to the challenges of the present, as well as to understand and know better our origins and our destiny for the future, in order to expand life in other planets.
Space is the inescapable challenge to all the advanced nations of the Earth.
It rekindles a situation that has lain dormant almost 5,500 years, the incident of the Tower of Babel. In the Babylonian version of the biblical story, the people of Babylon were building a tower whose head shall reach the heaven, in which a Shem, a space rocket, was to be installed under the direction of their supreme God. But the other deities were not amused by this foray of mankind. The question is, when you study, when you look at all that, is it myth, is it mythology, or did it really happen? I believe it all really happened. You are invited to join me in a journey, in a time machine. A magical journey taking us to the past through the work and achievements of archaeology. We are now entering a temple that is actually 6,000 years old. It is a temple that existed in a city called Erech, which until about 150 years ago was known only from the Bible, the biblical book of Genesis. And that temple was dedicated to a goddess, to a female called Inanna, known in later times as Ishtar. You can see here her features, a little damaged. Her divinity was marked by the pair of horns that she had. She held a jar with the water of life, and she was surrounded as a decoration, but perhaps also symbolically, with a symbol that some refer to as entwined snakes, which was the symbol of science in those days, 6,000 years ago. Some find in it a precursor of the Egyptian Ankh, which was the symbol of life and creation. And it really was a symbol of genetic manipulation of DNA. She also engaged in other activities, among them flying in the skies of Earth and also being an astronaut almost 6,000 years ago. Sumerian cosmogony answers many puzzles that still baffle modern science. Central to it was the tale of a celestial collision and knowledge of a solar system with 12 members. That ancient knowledge included the planets Uranus and Neptune, supposedly unknown until discovered in 1781 and 1846, and even Pluto, not discovered until 1930. But most surprising was the inclusion of one more large planet as the 12th member of our solar system. This tale of creation echoed through all the ancient cultures, becoming part of the scientific knowledge that we find in the Old Testament, in the creation story of Genesis. Adam was the first test tube baby. We see the sun with its many rays. We see the symbols standing for 4 of them in the bottom row. We see another 4 depicted standing on their cult animals, but really it's a symbolism connected with the zodiac. We see the moon, and we see the earth symbolized by the 7 dots, which indicated the position of the earth from the outer limits of the solar system, counting or coming in inwards by somebody flying into from outer space. The Sumerian tablets refer to the station planet Mars as the traveler's ship. I've taken it to mean that it was at Mars that the Anunnaki from Nibiru transferred to smaller spacecraft to reach Earth orbiting stations. Not once every 3,600 years, but on a more frequent schedule. The actual landing on and takeoff from Earth were performed by smaller shuttlecraft.
The other civilizations, or as the Sumerians call them, the Anunnaki, left us with a lot of knowledge. But due to the wrongs and mistakes of our past which burned to ashes, all the ancient libraries including the Library of Alexandria and the several libraries of Constantinopolis, we have remained only with stories and archaeological traces as a riddle for our intelligence. Probably our faults were the reflection of the faults that the Anunnaki had on themselves. It is clear from the evidence of our past and the evidence of our present, that other civilizations always have been around us, but it is another matter if they communicate with us or not because of our young civilization which is under observation from them. Due to the infinite existence concept of the cosmos and the finite concept of the universe, it is understandable that not always the Moors are in the same parallel of existence and the comprehended parallel development and intelligence. This means that our humanity should not be naive to think that we will meet and communicate always with our resemblance or they will find us as their resemblance. The likelihood it is that we are likely beings with one head, 2 arms and 2 legs, initiated from the accepted axiom that God created us in His image, but their level of development and level of intelligence can be thousands or even millions of years, as well as the ancient history of their intervention as it is proved from the Sumerian tablets. And as we are dealing with our attempts to intervene in the DNA's elements with the purpose to improve our image and prevent our diseases, always this is associated with a grave risk to create swift creatures ending up in monsters, as once upon a time such monsters were created by them always under well intentions, but it went astray and out of control that the humanity was so terrified and revolted that humanity wiped out all such monsters. This was the first crack appearing in the relations between the visitors and us, as inhabitants of Earth, although we were aware that they used our DNA to enhance us, but it means that our DNA they found in our planet Earth. So the evolution theory has been proved by nature of our planet Earth for 4 billion years, and the creationist theory symbolizes the intervention of other civilizations in our development with their ability to enhance our DNA and to teach us for more rapid sustained progress of our human society. In this meaning, the evolution theory has its crucial role that our development continues, but the intervention of other civilizations had made us more rational to learn quicker. So the development expressed on us through our beautiful and agile bodies and in the development of our evolution of fashion to cover our body, we have used our intelligence to manipulate the traditional fashion that other civilizations left us. And we have our modern appropriate fashion which is serving us better practically and aesthetically, compared with the heavy and dramatic fashion of them as it was copied by the so-called later kings and queens on Earth, who simply were the usurpers of the role of the visitors, who showed us the progress and even we learned more due to our own evolution through extreme challenges with our life on Earth and all the complexity of problems we have had in the past and we are still facing in the present.